Well, hello, everyone. This is John Clark on behalf of the Saratoga Report. And as we get ready for the Belmont Racing Festival, which is going to be held, as I think everybody around Saratoga knows, from June 6th to June 9th, seems like a good time to have Najja Thompson on the podcast. Najja is executive director of the New York Thoroughbred Breeders. That's a position he's held since 2020, I believe, Najja. Uh, Najee grew up in New York, right around Belmont Park, so it's a natural for him to be involved in racing. And he's also not only a New York guy, but a Florida guy. The family moved to Florida in 1991, and he's a graduate of Florida State University. So, Naja, welcome to the podcast. And it's really a great time to have you. Everybody's looking forward to the New York Showcase Day on June 9th. But could you start by telling us a little bit about your position as executive director of the Thoroughbred Breeders and what that entails? And then I know there's an important event coming up that we can talk about also.
Of course. First, thanks, John, and the Saratoga Report for having me on. As you mentioned, my name is Najja Thompson, the executive director of the New York Thoroughbred Breeders. Our organization is a membership organization that is the official authorized representative of the breeding industry in New York State. So what we do day to day is promote the New York Bred program, New York Breds that are competing on the track, and try to get people involved and interested in participating in the thoroughbred industry on a breeding aspect. And that lends to itself with racing at the track as well. And on Sunday, June 9th, as you mentioned, closing out Belmont Stakes Racing Festival this year at Saratoga Racecourse, we have a great New York Bred Showcase Day and a great event leading up to that, which is a breakfast brunch the morning of Sunday, June 9th from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Saratoga Reading Room.
All right, great. And I guess, Naja, that one of the exciting things about the brunch is that a lot of people who either bred or who own horses that are going to be racing that afternoon will be at the brunch. And that's just exciting to see them. And having been in that position myself, not at that level, but that's what's going to make that day even more exciting than you might expect, I think.
Definitely. You know, what we want to do as an organization, John, is make ourselves accessible for anybody interested in participating in breeding or racing or ownership. So if you have an interest, it's a great event to come out, meet some of our board members and participants in the program, as you mentioned, to get more information, not only about our organization, but the impact that horses have on our lives. We know Saratoga is health, history, and horses. So if you love horse racing, if you want to support New York Breds and want to learn more, please come out and head to nytbreeders.org/events to purchase your ticket, because it really will be a great event at what is a great facility at the Saratoga Reading Room.
And since we mentioned the Belmont Stakes, the day before the New York Showcase Day on June 8th, first time ever at Saratoga, there's the possibility that a New York bred will be running in that event. If not in that event, then in another big race that day. What can you tell us about that, Naja?
Yes, we have the Wine Steward. He's a talented 3-year-old. And really, this horse is developed, born and foaled in New York. When we say New York bred, we mean that the horse was foaled or born within New York State. And you can see the rise of our program, the trajectory is that we're continuing to produce horses. And that's on a good account of our breeders, on our foaling and stallion operations across the state, that they're producing racehorses that compete in the biggest races. The Wine Steward certainly has a great shot. He's coming off a second place finish in the Grade 2 Peter Pan, and also started the year with a second place finish at Keeneland in a Derby Prep Stakes race. So he's definitely primed to compete on Saturday, June 8th. And you know what's so great about our program is you can see the exposure and the rise in quality each year. And that's why we want more people to be a part of it and want people to learn more about what the New York thoroughbred breeding industry does and the impact it has in economics and jobs across New York State.
And I like the derivation of his name too. He's by Vino Rosso. So you had to call him the Wine Steward, right? I guess, or at least something
Yeah.
associated with grapes. But he's got, if he does run there, I think he has a legitimate shot. I mean, he's not going to be among the favorites, but he certainly belongs in the race. So we'll see what happens. If he doesn't run there, I think he would run in the Woody Stevens a 7 furlong race as opposed to a 1.25 mile race that the Belmont Stakes is. So it'll be interesting to see which way the trainer Mike Maker decides to go with the Wine Steward. Najja, speaking of New York breds, New York breds had a very successful sale at Fasig-Tipton Timonium in Maryland this month. And could you tell us about some of the successes that New York breeders had at that sale?
Quite right, John. You know, with our program and everybody's involvement, you're either trying, of course, to get to the racetrack, but before the racetrack, you may pinhook or sell your horse as a yearling or a 2-year-old. And what just recently completed at the 2-year-old Fasig-Tipton sale and Timonium, which you just mentioned, is New York breds performed significantly well. We had multiple horses selling for over 6 figures, including some from New York Stallions. Honest Mischief had 2 2-year-olds sold over $100,000 and $200,000 each. So those are horses that we'll be looking to race in the future as 2-year-olds as they mature. But you know, the continued product that we're producing by New York breeders, the consigners that we're working with across the state, Saratoga County, such an important county in our breeding program, with the facility and operations that are located close to us, including McMahon of Saratoga. You have Irish Hill and Century Farm in Stillwater, as well in the Hudson Valley. You have Sequel Stallions and Rockridge Stud, just a number of the breeding farms, and Waldorf Farm as well, that are producing these excellent New York breds that are selling at the sales and going on to achieve at the racetrack, such as the Wine Steward, which we talked about earlier. And it just talks about the success that you could have with your participation in the program. So anybody with interest in our organization, if you want to learn more, please visit nytbbreeders.org to learn how to become a member. And of course, you can start with attending our brunch on Sunday, June 9th, just to interact and get to know us in a leisurely and a good and happy and fun state ahead of the New York Bred Showcase date that afternoon.
I was particularly interested in 2 of the Honest Mischief horses, Colt and a filly. The Colt sold for $260,000. The filly for $190,000, I believe. And Honest Mischief, maybe I like him because I happen to have the hat that one of the representatives gave me when I was at the sales in New York. But he'll have his first 2-year-olds racing this year, so it'll be interesting to follow him. Well, Najja, thank you very much for appearing today, and success at the brunch on Sunday. That'll be fun, and then we're all looking forward to an exciting afternoon of racing of New York breds. If you are interested in attending the brunch at the Reading Room, tickets are available at newyorkbreeders.org. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, Najja, or
yeah, no, thanks again for the opportunity, John, and the Saratoga Report. Dan, everybody does such a great job with the blog. And I want to say this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we're getting for the next 2 years with racing in June at Saratoga Racecourse. So why not take advantage of that with the 4 days of racing that we do have before the annual traditional summer meet begins? And a part of that, we'd like you to come out, experience our brunch on June 9th. And again, that day is a New York Bred Showcase Day with 6 stakes races for New York breds, and including a jump race that's a grade 1, which will be a new feature for everybody who likes jump racing as well. So you get the best of both worlds to close out what will be a fantastic week for our city and town. And we want everybody to become a part of that. So head to nytbbreeders.org/events to learn more and purchase your ticket. And I hope to see everybody there.
Well, again, thanks, Najja. Look forward to seeing you at the races, and good luck to everyone over the weekend of the Belmont Festival. Thanks very much.